Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are doing great. If you are new here, hi, my name is Dana and I am really glad to have you here today. So as you can tell from the title down below, I thought it would be really fun for this video to kind of reflect back on my first year homeschooling and think about just some of the tips and the advice that I either listened to or was given along the way. And honestly, those pieces of advice I wish I would have listened to. Because sometimes when you get busy and when you're in the moment, you kind of forget about all the advice that was given or all the workshops that you listened to. And so now that I'm in this season all over again, the newborn season and homeschooling with a newborn and a toddler, I thought I would kind of try to reflect back and remember what those tips and tricks were when it comes to that, because it's been a little bit of a challenge. It has been doing 2 school age and then having a very, very active toddler on top of a newborn. It's been quite the juggling season for sure. So yes, today is all about the advice that I wish I would have listened to, or I should title it probably the advice I wish I would have remembered. And then also some things I've learned along the way when it comes to homeschooling a toddler and newborn. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. So the first thing that I honestly remember a lot of people talking about, and that is lowering your expectations, especially when you are in a brand new phase of welcoming a newborn. And it does not matter, like this is baby number 4, and I feel like every single time a newborn joins the family, it's different all over again because it's a different person, it's a different experience. And what makes it different too is you have little people before the newborn to also take care of and things like that. So even though yes, this is my 4th newborn stage, every single stage has been so different. And this being number 4 is probably definitely been the most challenging. So I'm having to learn to lower my expectations on a day-to-day basis. Not so much to the point where I wake up and my expectation is, oh, I'm gonna get nothing done today, even though some days are like that. But I'm learning to have more healthy expectations to where every single day is not led to more frustration. And that has helped a lot. And I talked about this in a previous video, but what has helped me when it comes to lowering expectations, when it comes to especially homeschooling, is the reverse planning. And I had talked about that in a previous video, where instead of going off of a to-do list and kind of like a plan for the day, I tried to honestly just write down what we did accomplish at the end of the day. And that makes me too mentally as well. It makes me reflect back on the end of every day and think of the positive instead of dwelling on the list of what we didn't get done. So that has helped a lot, is reverse planning, and then just lowering the expectation at the beginning of the day that, you know what, if we don't get everything accomplished, whatever everything is, right, then that's fine, and then let that be okay, because at the end of the day, you know, all the babies are happy, mommy's happy, daddy's happy, that's all that matters. And yeah, lowering expectations has been a challenging one, but I have learned that with reverse planning, that has helped me a lot. It has helped a lot. So the second thing that I remember hearing a lot, and something that I have put to the test a lot for this newborn phase, and something that I can attest that has been a huge, huge change in our home and in our homeschool. And that is honestly just making sure that we are actively working around baby's schedule instead of the other way around. Now, she doesn't really have a schedule per se. Like, I don't have like a set schedule for her. I kind of just let her do her thing. So I feed her on demand and things like that. So there is no set schedule, but she's kind of fallen into her own little rhythm. And right now, typically she's out for her longest, like first part of the day nap around 10:30, 11, sometimes closer to 12 depending. So I know that by the time that time comes, and the little people know too, that hey, once the baby is out, and she'll be out for probably 2 hours at a time when she is on mama. So I'll normally put her in the carrier, and I know I'll have like at least a solid hour, hour and a half before her needing to eat again. To get school done. And I honestly kind of refer to that hour when baby's out cold and the little people are ready to do school because they've played all morning and things like that. I kind of try to refer to that hour as kind of like my power hour, where that is the hour that I try to get just the basics done. And we'll get into that in my next point, which is the third thing that I was always kind of remembering that people were telling people to do when they're in the newborn phase. And that is stick to the very, very basics. And this goes back into my other point, which they kind of flow together, and that is the point of that power hour. And in that power hour, I honestly just stick to the basics and get the basics done very, very first. And that's hard because sometimes I like to do the unit studies and the fun things and everything like that first to make it exciting, you know? But I've learned that in that power hour, so to speak, I have to get done the reading lessons, I have to get done the handwriting, and I have to get done the math. Those are the 3 things that I have to get done in that hour, because who knows what the rest of the day holds and things like that. So That is my power hour, and that is what I try to get done, and what it means to do is just tackling the basics and stick to the basics only when it comes to the newborn phase. And then after that power hour is done and baby's been fed and everything like that, and then that's typically like after lunch. And then after lunch, that's when, if the day allows, we get the unit study stuff out and everything like that. And the kids have found a lot more freedom in that as well, because they know for that hour they can just get everything done, which they tend to like anyway, is to get everything done in that hour. Because for the little years, typically I found that kindergarten, first grade, an hour is plenty of time to get those 3 things done, and that's the necessities that we're working on right now. And then the rest of the day, when they're outside playing, that's when we can do like the history and science and like the read alouds and things like that. And a huge part of science, especially for us in the summer, is that outdoor active play and just like being in God's creation. That is science, and that is hands-on learning, and there's no better way to do that. So I kind of refer to that as science, but I do that. And then, hi. And then for history, we of course like do our read alouds and things like that. But in the little years, we don't worry about it too much. Anyway, yeah, sticking to the basics is definitely point number 3. And then point number 4, honestly, again, flows back into point number 3 when I mentioned that in the later part of the day, that's when we do our read alouds and things like that. And I also mentioned in a previous video that we were doing more of an evening basket. I'll have that video linked down below if you want to hear more about that and why we kind of switched it to the evening. And so during the day, we'll do more read alouds, or for that late afternoon slump when everyone's kind of a little bit tired, but it's not quite dinner time yet. That is my favorite time to do the read alouds, because the kiddos have had all morning and all afternoon to just play and explore, and so that's normally when they just like to chill and rest anyway. So I know that if they want to play quietly with either Legos or Magna-Tiles, that's a great time in the late afternoon, especially around 3:30, to just sit down and let mommy sit down too. And yeah, I just read to the kiddos. So the last thing I wanted to mention, I guess point number 5 I should say, and that is not necessarily having to do with homeschooling with a newborn. It has to do with toddlers, like homeschooling with a toddler. That in and of itself is a whole nother video, I feel like. And I'm going to honestly just go ahead and be transparent and say this has probably been my most difficult season in not just homeschooling but in parenthood in general. And it has been very challenging trying to actively teach reading at the same time to like 2 littles and everything like that, because they're at the age where they need more intense hands-on training and learning right now, on top of like the newborn and then the very busy toddler. And I have learned in this season that there are 2 things I can do while trying to homeschool my first grader and kindergartner. And I can either let my toddler roam freely and run around the house and feel very sad because she wants to be included and get into everything, or I can include her and she still will get into everything that we're doing on the table, but at least she will feel included and happy. And so I have again lowered my expectations for how neat and tidy our homeschool time will be, and have just included her with us. I typically, what that will look like is she will actually climb up on the chair, and then she won't just climb at the chair and be happy sitting at the table. She has to climb on the table and sit in the middle of the table. So typically I'll get a coloring book and crayons, and she'll be happy as a clam just sitting up there, but she feels included and she gets all of the crayons, all of the markers, everything out. Like, I mean everything. I'll have to insert a picture of kind of what our table looks like after school. Most of it has to do with her kind of exploring, but she has a great time and she feels included and she's happy. It just goes along with that first point of lowering the expectations of not everything might look like you want it to, and it might be a little bit chaotic sometimes. I'm going to be honest, very chaotic sometimes, but at least she is happy and she feels included. Now, with that being said, however, there are a few things that I have done that has really helped keep her busy and entertained if I really just need to focus on one little person, or if, say, I'm working on a reading lesson with my first grader and he's getting really distracted with everything going on practically on his school book. And so I have to kind of try to keep her busy and entertained too, so that's been a little bit of a juggle. But I made a previous video on kind of the activities that our toddler likes to do while we homeschool, and those have been amazing, and I utilize those pretty much every single day, multiple times a day. A couple of the things that I have also learned to add in, and this is going to be like a three little points here, but one of the first things that I have learned to do that she is really wanting to explore, and she's really busy. Typically I will get our water beads out and I'll sit her up there and let her just play with the water beads. She loves them, and it's a great sensory thing for her too. And not only just the water beads, but I'll hide little toys in them, like little plastic toys that are like, you know, water resistant, so bath toys. But I'll hide those into her little water bead container, and she'll have so much fun digging through them. She'll spend like probably 15-20 minutes finding all the little toys and treasures. I'll even throw in some rocks and stuff for her to dig down and find and everything like that, and she loves them. They are a little bit messy. However, if I am needing that 15 to 20 minutes of, I know I'm gonna have this uninterrupted time, I need my toddler to be happy and the baby to be sleeping, and then I can do the reading lesson. And so the water beads have been amazing. But another thing that I have also loved doing is I have this little straw, I guess you can call it, like little wooden tray, and in this tray I'll throw in all kinds of like the most random things. I mean, the most random. I have like poppets, little animals, sometimes rocks, little books, whatever I can find through the house that I know she loves. Maybe even a little snack in there. Well, snacks are amazing, that's another point. They'll keep her busy forever, you know. But I'll put that tray on but I'll rotate everything out every other day. So when I do get the tray out, again, when I really am needing that 15-20 minute time, and let her kind of explore and play with that as well. So she loves that. And then the last thing I'm going to mention that our family just did, and I mean just did by like probably 3 days ago, we just did this. We ended up combining, for the most part, our playroom and school area. So we kind of merged the two together, and it has been amazing. And it's kind of funny because I love it when we can all sit down together at the dining room table. However, when it comes to my toddler, and again, I put this in my point of like entertaining the toddler and everything, for some reason, when my little guy is working at his desk, and even though mommy's like right there next to him, and my little girl is on the table right here coloring and doing her thing, and I'm standing up here, for some reason, because we're not all sitting down at the same table at the same time, she's totally fine roaming around the playroom playing. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is like a different world, because for the past, because we've only been used the space twice, I'll insert a clip here, kind of what it looks like, but we just kind of, it's very, really simple, really basic. We ended up using our back porch area and kind of converted that into a little bit of a, I guess you can call it a multi-purpose room, but it's right off of our dining room. So we'll probably still float out to our dining room and mostly use that. But it's been amazing for the 2 days that we actually have utilized it so far, of seeing the difference of, because we're not all together, even though we're together, if that makes sense. My toddler's fine, just free playing. So that's been amazing, and she can be with us and mommy's right there with her, while also being with the other two and helping them. So it's been a really, really good transition. And I was talking to my husband, I'm like, we should have done this forever ago if I would have known that my toddler would be happy, kind of like free playing, but also being with us. And that was a big link, I think, missing when it came to entertaining our toddler while we homeschool. She just wanted to be with us, and the same with when I was homeschooling my preschooler and had a toddler too, they just wanted to be with us. And I think that is 100% wonderful, and it's like what should be, is you want to be together, but having, you know, everyone together, but also having it feel like she can free play, and having her feel like she can free play has been amazing. So we've been loving that space and have been really, really thankful for it. And there's a bee in front of my camera, so sorry. Well guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. This has, like I said, been a very challenging season, but it was really fun for me to, especially this past month, kind of reflect back and look at some of the things that I remember either hearing or advice that I had been given, and kind of implementing that more, because I'm learning to actually have to implement these things right now in this phase of life. It's such a beautiful, beautiful season, but it is so busy. Very, very busy, but like I said, it's beautiful. It is, it really is. But yes, thank you guys again for watching, and until my next video, you guys have a good one, and God bless. Bye.